And let me share my screen also. Are you all able to see my screen? Are you all able to see my screen? Okay, cool. And my audio and visuals are clear, right? Thank you. Okay, let me put in the presentation. So this is a power reading masterclass where we are going to explore the possibilities or to understand what are the bad reading habits which are blocking us reading more effectively, and what reading can bring for us, what changes or what transformation reading can do for us. So the goal, ultimate goal or the vision is to help you to unlock your learning potential. It's not only about reading, it's more about learn things, not only through reading. There are so many other ways to learn, right? In all other aspects, if you want to improve the way, we want to improve the way we are learning things so that we can be more productive and we can achieve our goals much faster. That's the ultimate goal of this masterclass. So as I mentioned, a couple of ground rules. First thing is be ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is a very crucial and critical point. Over a period of time, we have learned how to do things, and we are accustomed to do it in the same way because we used to do it. And if we have to go out of that way, most of the time we may not be ready, or we may have some resistance to do it. So be ready to unlearn. When you think something is not making sense, doesn't even look into that logical part of it, there is a reason behind doing it in a different way. So be ready to unlearn some of the things and relearn it in a different way. That's very much required. So similarly, be ready to be illogical. I'm going to give some of the things which may not make some much logical sense when you see it in the first sense, but that is the best way to accomplish results faster. That's why we do that approach. And there is a big trap most of us get into. That is the trap between knowing versus doing. Many times when you hear something new, we may feel that, oh, I heard it somewhere else. Or when somebody tells something, okay, this is the way we can, oh, I know this. But you might have not tried that. You might have heard about it, you know it. There is a huge difference between knowing versus doing. The person who do, even if it's a little bit, will be much successful than the person who knows everything about a particular thing. So we all say knowledge as power, but knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just a potential power. It will become powerful when we make use of it. Agree? Right? If you have to apply the knowledge, that makes the difference. And another important aspect is participate as if your life and success fully depend on it. I can guaranteely tell you that if you clearly follow these things, this is going to make a massive transformation in your life. Follow this, what I explain in this masterclass, because I have seen success in so many people. I've seen it in myself. That's the reason I am telling you to believe in it and follow it. I hope all of you are in for it. Now, let's look at reading. I know we all know, like, the world is moving so fast. Technology is changing every now and then. With the AI tools, ChatGPT, and a lot of AI tools, things are becoming much easier. And is there a space for reading? Many people have this question, like, see, reading is something like very old thing. Like, do you really want to read a lot? You can learn things in a lot of other ways. Why should you want to read it? But what is the reality? Why reading is so important? what reading can do for us. Let's look at some examples where you all will be able to easily connect. How did reading help these people to accomplish massive success in their life? Let's look at few very well-known people who has been really successful or who are the game changer in the world. First, Elon Musk. You all know him, right? He is a person who is thinking like 50 years or 100 years beyond, like what we should be doing. And when in an interview, when somebody asks him, like, how did you learn launching rockets and all those things? His straightaway answer was, I read books. So he gives so much of credit to his success, to his reading habits. He spent a lot of time in reading. And we can see how much successful and how much technology-wise, how much he is contributing to the world, right? Another person, you all know how Warren Buffett has become so successful in his life. What he says is he spends almost 5 to 6 hours for reading. And how reading benefited him is, he says, I don't take too many decisions. I take only very minimal decisions, but that decisions most of the time goes right because I take that decision after doing so much of analysis, after doing so much of study. So he spent a hell lot of time in reading, understanding what is happening, and with a thorough analysis and all, only he does take some action. So he is a person who spent so much time in reading and got massive success in his life. And Tony Robbins, you all know, right? He, couple of times he has explained what has changed his life. He was not able to accomplish anything in his life. Then he has set a goal of reading one book every day. And that has made a lot of difference in his profession. So he got into this personal help and the helping people to come out of a lot of bad habits and all those things. He became one of the most successful like personal transformation coach. So he gave a great credit to his reading habits. And we all know Swami Vivekananda, right? Greatest motivator from India for the youth, right? Not only for youth, for everyone. We all love and respect him so much. He had impacted so many people, so many lives. He also was a great example of reading. Reading in the sense his reading habits were super and it was backed with his strong meditation and all those things, and his memory power was also amazing. We can't believe how fast he was reading and how quick he was able to retain and how he was able to come back with like what he read, and it is amazing. Bill Gates, you all know, right? He has a goal of reading 52 books or approximately minimum 50 books a year, and that means one book a week. He reads one book a week and he gave a great credit to his success. Another example is Shashi Tharoor. You all know how a scholarly person, how he also once had set a goal of reading 365 books in an year, and he has done that. He gave a great credit to reading. I'm just bringing some examples who has been really massive success in their life through reading. I know most of you will be knowing all these personalities. Now let's come back to our story. These all are, when I tell them, you may say that, oh, these all are already very highly successful people. How can I relate or how can I compare them with me? They are already at so much of talented and all. Let's come back to yourself. Ask this question to yourself. What reading can do for you? It's only about you. Imagine if you could read the best 50 books or even 20 to 30 books on your area, on your domain, on your technology. You are working on a particular technology or an industry, or you have a particular niche. You may be doing coaching or parenting coaching or any type of teaching, anything. Imagine if you have read the just take the minimum number, top 20 books, the best 20 books in this particular topic of your interest, and implemented the key learnings. That's the most important aspect, right? It's not about gaining knowledge. It's more about applying that in your life. If you have implemented that, how different your life should have been. Imagine, just I want all of you to think. If you know, first of all, do you know what are the top 10 books in your industry? Have you tried understanding what are the top 10 books, and have you tried learning that? Tried reading that? How much difference and transformation that can bring in your life? Think about it. You should be able to bring massive transformation in your life. Right? Agree? Yeah. So let's get into what we are going to cover in the next 75 minutes. It's going to be a 90 minutes masterclass. So first thing is understand your reading style and your reading habits. How is your current reading going on? That is, we will measure your speed, reading speed, as well as your comprehension level, means your retention level. Then let's understand the science of reading, how reading works actually, and what is missing there, what is possible there. Then the two biggest blockers of effective reading. Majority of the people, there are n number of different blockers or different bad reading habits, but majority of the people have two biggest blockers. We will explore on that. I'll share my story. I know I have not introduced myself, but I'll share my story. Then 3 stages in the reading process. There are 3 stages in a reading process. You have to understand and identify where you are not focusing, or where are you focusing, where is the focus missing. Then 3 secrets of highly successful readers. We have seen some 6 people. What are the secrets of their reading habits? Let's understand and see what we can adapt in our life. Then we will learn power of speed reading. Definitely speed reading is one of the most suitable thing which can help you to improve your speed as well as efficiency of your reading. Then retention techniques. We'll learn some of the retention technique, how you can remember what you read. That is also more important, right? To implement something what you read, you have to remember what you read. Then how to transform your reading habits. What you have to do for the next 30 days to transform your reading habits. This is the agenda for today's sessions. Any questions so far? Either you can unmute or you can put it in the chat window. So as I mentioned, when you engage in a session, you learn, you get the best out of your time, because you are investing your 90 minutes. Collectively, 10 people, 15 people, we are putting this much of time, means it's a huge amount of time. If you have to get the best out of it, you have to actively engage in it. So before getting into your reading habits, let me ask you a couple of questions. You can answer in the chat window. How many books you have read in the last 1 year? That means from last October till this end of this September, consider end of September, how many books you have read? Please do type in. Please be truthful to yourself and type in. Don't worry if it is 0 also. Please do participate. Navodaya 0, yeah. Avinash 10, Abhaya 0, Satya 1, Kabil 0, Rashmi 1. Okay, let me ask you the next question. How many books you want to read in the next 1 year? Bhushan, you have already read 25. Yeah. Abhinaya 10. Yeah. Avinash 50. 20. Rashmi 50. Yeah. So can you see the gap? You have read a few, like less than 10. Majority of you read less than 10 books. But you want to read like 25 or 50 or whatever number it is. You want to read a lot of books, right? Then the gap between your current state and your desired state is huge. Why is it happening? What is blocking you from accomplishing your goals? Can you give me the topmost reason why you are not able to read? Why you are not able to read as per your wish? You can type in. There could be n number of reasons. What is coming in your mind? Let's put it here. Time span, Rashmi. Yeah. What other reasons? You can put multiple reasons. What is blocking you to accomplish your reading goals? Come on, guys. Please do type in. Please. How to read? Okay. Discipline, mood changes. Yeah. Yeah. What all to read? Yeah, that's a great point. What to read? Discipline. What else? What else is coming? Can't concentrate. Very important point. Consistency. Yeah. Super, super. Yeah. I'll just stop here. I think you have put most of the core problems here. One is don't know what to read. Second, consistency. Then concentration, focus, memory. All these are very common challenges. And what are we doing to overcome this? We are not acting, right? If you want to get a different result, you cannot get a different result by doing the same thing again and again, right? You have to change the input to get a better output. So we all know what are our problems. That itself is a great. So feel happy that you know what is the issue. Now we know what needs to be fixed, right? Now we'll focus how can we change or how can we overcome these challenges. That is what we are going to focus. So since it is more about understanding where you stand. Now you know what challenges you have. One thing we have to do is, if you want to measure you are progressing, if you don't do a measure, you may not feel happy about your progress, right? So it's important for you to measure your progress so that you get motivated. Say, for example, if you join for some weight loss challenge or something, you keep measuring, right? That is the only way you feel, okay, I am reducing my weight, or I am gaining more muscles, or whatever it is, you should be able to measure. So if we can't measure, we can't improve. That's a famous quote. If we can't measure, we can't improve, because that measurement itself will give you a satisfaction of okay, you progressing towards. The other side is also there. Like if you are not seeing any progress, you feel demotivated also. So first thing what we will do is, we will do a small measure right now of your reading speed as well as your comprehension. We can do it in different ways. Normally we do, most of us do two types of reading. One is offline reading, which is like directly opening the book and physically reading it. Other thing is online reading, where you read in the computer screen or mobile screen or anywhere else. So two types of reading. So to measure the speed as well as comprehension, right now what I will do is, I will give a online measurement thing. It's all about you. I'll share you a link. You open the link, you read a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs, and then at the end there will be some questions. You answer the questions so that you understand your current speed as well as your comprehension level. This is a simple one test. See, one test may not give an exact, accurate and all those things, but since we don't have so much time, we'll do one. After this session, you can use the same link and you can practice multiple times. At least you should do 3 times to get an average of your reading speed as well as comprehension. Now, you don't try to read faster or anything. You read in your normal way, how you read normally, and then measure it. Are you all okay? Shall I share the link? I'm sharing the link. Once you are done, I'll open the link also. When you open this link, take a free reading test. Click on this, take a free reading test. Then click on start test button. I hope you all are able to access the link. Are you? You are all able to access the link. Okay, cool. Yeah. You can, once you are ready, click on the start test. It will show a paragraph, like a couple of paragraphs. You read it and click on the end test. Then it will ask some questions. You answer those questions. And then at the end, you will see your speed in words per minute, WPM. I will explain how we measure the speed. It will show what is your words per minute speed as well as your comprehension level. Comprehension level will be out of 100%. So you share both. Like once you are done, if your reading speed is 150, share it like this, 150 slash, if a comprehension is 80%, put it like this in the chat window. What is your speed as well as comprehension? And also you make a note of it in your notepad. If you are ready, just go ahead and start. It won't take like more than 3 minutes. I'm just not reading it. I'm just putting some answer and then you may get a different paragraph and all. Please start. Once you are done, please do type in your speed as well as comprehension. Okay, Rashmi, 424 is reading speed. Okay. Comprehension is 33%. Yeah, that's fine. Let's not worry about comprehension and all right now. We are just doing a measure right now, right? Kapil 139.33, right? Cushion 241.0, 178, 40%, 109, 25%. Yeah, I hope all of you have done. So you are getting a picture, right? Where is the where is your reading? Where, or what is the, I think it shows the average reading speed also, right? On average adult, we can read somewhere around 200 to 250 words per minute with around 75 to 90% comprehension. That is the normal. Like when you read with a little focus, you will be able to do that. Some of you may be somewhere around 170, 102, or 240. It doesn't matter where you stand. What matters is how can we improve from here, right? That is the most important thing. Now you get a little picture about where is your reading level and comprehension. So let's move forward. As I mentioned, we measure the reading speed in the words per minute. Words per minute reading speed means how many words you are able to read in a minute. I hope that measure is clear for all of you, right? Words per minute, what does it mean? And how do you calculate when you read a physical book? How can you calculate the words per minute? So there are some easy ways. What you should be doing is, if you have a physical book, something like this is a book. If you have a physical book, how you can do it is, you pick one page and then pick a couple of lines. Like look at a few lines at the top. Are you able to see this? Hope you are able to see, right? Count the number of words in the first line. Measure it for maybe 4 to 5 lines. Take the average. Mostly it will be 10 to 15 words in most of the books. So if you know, like first line maybe 10, second maybe 12, third maybe 13. Take the average, maybe take it as 12. Then count the number of lines in this page. Normally it will be around 30 to between 30 and 40. If the number of words is 10 and the number of lines is 30, this page has 300 words. So the easy way to measure is, you start your stopwatch in the mobile and start reading one page from top to bottom. So you know this page has 300 words or 330 words, and then you read it and see how much time you took. If you took 2 minutes, that means your reading speed is 150 words per minute. That is one way of measuring. Another way is, you start reading from the top of a page and put a timer for 1 minute and read for 1 minute and check how many lines you read. That gives an approximate number of your words per minute speed. Is it clear? I would recommend you to do this exercise with a physical book today itself. All of you will do? Okay, cool. So that's the way we can measure. See, any book when you get, if you want to know the size of the book, the easiest way is calculate the page length. We call it as page length. Number of words in a line into number of lines. Normally, it will be around 300 to 400 or 300 to 500 range. It depends upon the size of the book. If you have that much of, if you know that, and then the page number will be given, right? If it's a 300 words per page, and if it has a 200 page, that means this book is around 60,000 words approximately. And then how you can set a reading goal is, you know your reading speed, maybe 150 words per minute. 150 words per minute if you have to read a 60,000 words book, how much time it will take? In a minute, you are reading 150. So you need 400 minutes to read this much. 400 minutes is approximately around 7 hours, right? Less than 7 hours. So that means you need approximately 7 hours to read this book. So this is something which I'll come to that later. This is something which we do when you plan for your reading. So when you have a plan, half is done. You all know, right? Somebody who is planning something have much more success rate than who is just doing something without having any planning. So reading itself, I mentioned like 3 stages before reading. We have to do some of the things that comes here. So you should have a plan for reading. Let's move forward. As I mentioned, words per minute. Sometimes we call it as words per second also. Like in a second, how many words you read. Then line size is total lines in a total words in a line, and the page length is total words in a page, and the book length is total words in a book. So this is the measurement method, and there are some sites and all available. Something called reading length. If you put the book name, it will show how many words are there. That easy way is also there, but that will not give all the books. The common books will be available in such sites. Now let's look at different styles of reading. Now you might be getting an idea where you stand. There are 3 types of readers normally. One is motor reader, second is auditory reader, third is visual reader. What is motor reader? Motor reader is easy to understand. A person who is reading loudly. We all learned to read loudly in our childhood, right? Some people carry the same habit even at a later stage also. So some people, are you a motor reader? Second is auditory reader. Auditory reader is somebody who is not reading loudly, but I'm presenting my screen, right? Are you all able to see? Sorry, I was not presenting. I stopped sharing. Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see now? Yeah. Okay. So first is motor reader, second is auditory reader, and third is a visual reader. Motor reader is a person who just read loudly, always. Auditory reader is a person who doesn't read loudly, but the person will read each and every word in their mind. Sometimes there will be a lip movement, or sometimes your tongue will be going up and down. You can just test. It's you will be, whenever you read, you can see your tongue is moving. At the same time, your lip is moving, even though you are not making any sound. Third is the visual reader. So the challenge with motor reader and auditory reader is our reading speed as well as our speaking speed. There's a huge difference. So as I mentioned, average reading speed is somewhere around 200 to 250. But our average speaking speed means number of words we speak per minute. It's somewhere around 150. 150 to 200 is our speaking speed. The challenge with a motor reader is, if a person is reading loudly, he cannot read more than his speaking speed, right? Because he has to pronounce, he has to read each and every word. Almost similar thing. Only thing happen with auditory reader, where only thing he may not make any sound external, but internally he or she is also reading each and every word. So it is taking time. It can't go beyond your speaking speed. That is why most of the people are in the first 2 categories. Visual reader is on the other hand, directly grasp the meaning. They don't spend time in reading each and every word. They are able to get the meaning directly. Get it. You may feel it little challenging to understand, but we will get there. How we will understand, or how we will get there. Are you getting it? Now we may be able to put yourself into any of these buckets, right? Where you stand. Are you a motor reader, auditory reader, or a visual reader? Clear? Yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask. As I mentioned, it's be interactive so that you can learn and get the best out of this time you are spending. Okay, now let's understand the normal reading process. What is the normal reading process? When we read something, we go to one word, you pick the book, start with one word, you read that word, you move to the next word, again move to the next word, next word, next word. This is the normal reading process. And what happens in between? In between, our mind start roam around somewhere else, go all over the world, and again come back. By the time we come back, what happens? We forget what we were reading. Again, we will go back and end up reading. This is the normal slow reading process. We read each and every word, move forward. There is a specific reason why we do that way. That is what I'm coming. We have to understand the science of reading, how we learn reading, why we are following this approach. I know majority of us will be doing the same, like reading word by word. See, the biggest problem here is our eyes are like a camera, right? When you have to focus on something, if you imagine when you're taking a photo, it has to take some time to focus it, right? So what is happening is when you focus on one word and when you have to focus on the next word, there's a small gap. Like you focus on word one, second you focus on word two. Then your eyes has to change the focus from word one to word two. So that is called saccades, like eye saccades we call it. So there is a small gap there. It takes like almost 0.2 to 0.3 seconds on an average. And when there are 300 words in a page, it takes almost like 60 seconds additional. Getting that? So we have to reduce the core concepts here is we have to reduce that. How we can reduce? That's what we will learn. So this is the normal reading process. And how did we learn like this? Like how we start learning something? Like we start recognizing the alphabets and symbols first. Then we read each alphabet loudly. Then we form words by reading each alphabet loudly, like C-A-T, cat, R-A-T, rat, right? Yeah, Rashmi, I got your comment. Yeah, after reading speedily, I find it challenging to explain what I have read. Yeah, that definitely that happens, right? And the speed you read, like it was like 424, which was like very high. In that speed, your comprehension level was very low, right? So we will get in there. How do we balance that? So yeah, coming back, reading words loudly to read sentences, right? That is what we learned. See, why we were asked to read loudly each word in your school times was they want to understand whether you are pronouncing it right, right? Pronunciation was the primary reason teachers asked us to read loudly. But what happened? Most of the people did not stop there. They continued that process. And then slowly, after a stage, we started reading silently, reading words silently in our mind to read sentences. That was the next stage we got into. Then what? After that, did we try anything else? No, right? Most of us, more than 90% of us stop there. Like we read words loudly, then we read words silently, and then we read, and then we go on. Majority of the people lifelong, they follow the same pattern. They don't see anything beyond that because no one taught us what is there or what is possible beyond that. See, look at the example. Like when we learned alphabets and when we start reading words, initially we were reading C-A-T, cat, R-A-T, rat, and all those things, right? After a stage, we stopped reading each alphabet, right? We don't read C-A-T for cat. We just read cat. Just by looking at the word itself, you are able to capture it, right? We all know that we naturally we learn, but beyond that we did not learn. What is possible is we actually don't even read each and every word. We can capture words together. That's the core of it. That's a crux, I would say. We can capture more. Only thing is we never tried or we never experimented ourselves to do that. It definitely requires practice, but that is the next level. Let's look at, I'll show you one example. I want all of you to read this. Read this in the sense, what I'm going to do is, you have to read, I'm going to show a paragraph. In each word, there are few alphabets, uh, put it in bold. Bold alphabet. You just need to read only the bold alphabet. You don't need to read anything else. And read this. I hope all of you are able to read it, right? Please do type in, was it easy to read? Right? Yeah. So we know why it is working, right? Because you don't need to read each and every alphabet to get a word, right? You can, with a few letters, you can get the word because you have practiced it over a period of time. So it is not at all difficult for you. The same way, there is another experiment where you put wrong spelling. Only first and last alphabet is correct. Middle, most of the things may be wrong, but even still, you could get the word, right? You might have seen in WhatsApp and all, you get some of these type of things. Like it's easy because we have already practiced it. The same thing is possible when it comes to a group of words also. You don't need to read each and every word to read a sentence. That's the core. You don't need to read each and every word to read to get a sentence. You can read words together also. Are you getting it? It's only thing we never learned it or we never practiced it. Once you start doing that, you don't need to spend so much of time in that eye facades to fix your eye on each and every word and moving through. That itself is the killer of your reading speed. And another important aspect is most of you might be thinking, if I increase the speed, I may lose my comprehension, retention level. But the reality is actually the otherwise. Imagine, I always consider reading is something like driving. When you drive a car, when you go faster, does that mean your focus is going less? No, right? When you drive faster, actually your focus is more because you will be more careful or more aware that you are riding faster. So you should be more careful. You'll be more focused. And it is not, people say that I love reading slowly. I enjoy reading. See, when it comes to car driving also, is it mandatory that, okay, going slowly is something I should always enjoy? When you get into a highway or an 8-lane highway or somewhere, you cannot go like 30, 40, right? It has to, there is a speed limit maintained and you have to go in that speed. So you cannot go with the same everywhere. You have to apply, you have to make use of it. I'm not telling like you can apply speed everywhere. When you get into some gutter road and all those things, you have to definitely reduce. But when you get into highways, why should you go in 20 kilometers per hour when you get into a highway? You should make use of that thing. That's the same thing applying to our reading. Most of the time, what happens, you don't need to read word by word in most of the books. But when it comes to very complex subject, you may need to do that. What I'm trying to say is there is a possibility. Majority of the places you will be able to apply your speed reading techniques to read things much faster. Is it clear? Okay, now let's look at the two biggest blockers of your effective reading. What are actually blocking us? First thing is regression. Regression is nothing but rereading. If you are from a testing background and all, you know what is regression testing, right? Retesting, already tested thing, right? Regression testing. So similarly, regression is something we are rereading. Why regression is happening? Your focus is minimal. You are not able to focus. You are going very slowly. Probably you are reading word by word, and in between your focus is going somewhere else. And again, by the time you come back, you forget what you read. Again, you go back and read. This is something called a reread. Regression is something called rereading. Second is sub-vocalization. Sub-vocalization is something you are reading things in your mind, or you can say you are reading in your head, even though you are making noise. I told the three types of readers we saw, right? One is auditory reader, one is visual reader. What was the third one? Auditory reader, sorry, motor reader, auditory reader, and visual reader, right? The auditory reader is the person who does this. Most of the people have this challenge, sub-vocalization. You can check it. When you read something, look at, are you reading word by word in your mind, even if you are not making any noise or any sound. So that is the sub-vocalization. We can reduce it, and we can, with practice, we can eliminate it. Once you eliminate that subvocalization, you will be able to grasp it because we have seen it, right? We have seen reading these things. You don't read each and every alphabet. Similar way, you don't need to read each and every word to read a sentence. That is the level we have to accomplish. And so far, I did not tell more about me. Let me take a few minutes to tell my story. Myself, Anil was there. I'm basically an IT professional with over 20 years of experience. Coming from a development background and was playing a leadership role in an IT company. And my reading habits was very poor. Like my comprehension level was very minimal. And with my vernacular accent and all those things, I was finding it very difficult to read English books. And being in the leadership role, I was finding it like a little challenging. Like I felt like I have to gain more knowledge. I have to mentor people, coach people, train people. For all those things, I have to gain more knowledge. And once I was appointed at the library committee mentor for my company. So that's the time I have to force people to read more books. But I was feeling guilty that I myself was not reading enough books. I was reading only 1 or 2 books, that too, which is more technical or whatever is relevant to my topic in an year. And then I started picking more books from the library and I started reading. That's the time I realized there's so much to learn from reading books. There are so many excellent books which will make you a much better person in all aspects of your life. If you look into your wheel of life, you can pick any area of your life. There are n number of great books available. And when I started reading, I realized there is much more to do. And I become like passionate about reading. But after a period of time, I realized, okay, this is my reading speed and retention level. I can't go beyond this. So I was able to read around 20 books, maximum 20 books in a year time by continuously reading. By every day, I was reading almost an hour, minimum an hour. And then even then, I was able to read 20 and I was looking like what is possible. I want to read more. And I was not getting any clue. I tried different things like YouTube and all those things I explored. But I was not making much progress. Then I gave up. I thought, okay, this is the maximum. Okay, I will set a goal of reading approximately 20 books a year. And I was moving that way. And that time, I went for an NLP training. There I met a person and he was talking about a book. And at the same time, I was also reading the same book. And then we became good friends. And then he was a businessman from Hyderabad. He used to do a lot of exporting business and all. It was in Bangalore we met when I went for the NLP training. And he told me he's reading 1 book every day. And that was unbelievable for me. I told I don't believe. I can't believe. You are such a busy businessman and you are telling you are reading 1 book every day. And he told he has a collection of 4,000 books. So that was really shocking for me. And I was very curious to know what he is doing, how he is doing all this, how is it possible? And that session was for 5 days and he was staying in a hotel very near to my place in Koramangala. So I met him in the evening in his room and spent a good amount of time to understand what he was doing. He taught me a lot of very good techniques on how to improve your reading speed and efficiency, how to read and get the best out of your reading. So that has made a massive transformation in my life. I started applying the key learnings, what he taught me, and then I started exploring more. I started doing more, and even I attended some courses on speed reading and all those things. And that has helped me to set very high goal. Like where I was reading like approximately 20 books in the next 1 year, I set a goal of reading 100 books, and I easily accomplished that. That was a really unbelievable transformation for me. A person who was reading like 1 to 2 books a year. Within an year, I moved from reading that many books to like 100 books in an year. So that has given so much of confidence in me and how much knowledge we can gain through reading. That's the time I decided, okay, if I am a very poor fellow who was not at all reading, if a person can get this much of transformation, why can't I help other people to do the same? That's the time I started training people. I started getting more people into training and then helping them to, within my organization, I have done it at that time. And then so many people took benefit from that. And then I decided, okay, I want to reach out to more people. And I decided to write a book. And that's the time I wrote my first book, which is How to Read. I gave the same title based on my experience only. I have put it How to Read 100 plus books every year just by spending 30 minutes daily. So this is easily possible for everyone. Irrespective of where you are standing now, it's possible. Only thing it requires some good amount of practice. So that's the way I got a great transformation, and then I started helping people. And now I am on a mission to help more and more people to read more and implement your reading. It's not only about reading. Even though I said that year I said 100 books goal, now I don't have a 100 book goal at all. Now I read approximately 40 to 50 books. And it is not mandatory. I don't have a number game there. Now I changed my target of implementation. Even if I read only one book, I want to implement the key learning in my life and see how it can transfer. I want to build more and more powerful habits which can sustain. That makes the more difference in me than gaining knowledge, because knowledge is power. I am totally agree. Knowledge will help you to take better decisions. But knowledge will be much more powerful, 10x powerful, if you implement that knowledge in your life. I hope you all agree, right? So you have to implement. It's not about the number. You don't need to set a goal of, okay, this is the number I want to accomplish. It's not about the number. It's more about what transformation you want in your life. That is more important. So definitely you can set to start with, you can set a number, a challenging number. If you are only 5 books, you can say, okay, I want to read 25 books. Perfectly fine. That's a very good number. What I would recommend is anyone can set a goal of reading 50 books in a year. 50 books in a year means it just 52 weeks we have, right? That means every week you have to read one book. It's easily possible if you really want to set such goals. So you can target, maybe no need to set it as 100 if your reading is less than 10 every year. Maybe set it as 50 to start with. And then based upon your progress, you can decide how do you want to move forward. Okay. So now let's look at what are the different stages in learning, in reading or learning process. There are 3 stages. One is before reading, one is during reading, 3 is after reading. All these 3 stages, we have to do the required things. Then only you will be able to get the best out of reading. It's not about when you want to read a book, it's not something like, okay, you just go pick a book, start reading. No, that is really not going to help you. There are a lot of steps you should follow before actually reading a book. Before actually reading a book, you have to understand. You have to understand what you have to build an emotional connection with the author. That is the best way to make the reading more interesting. Imagine your friend or your very close relative or somebody is writing a book. You will be very curious to read, right? Because you know this person very well. You know this person's life, their mission, vision, everything. Then it becomes easy for you to connect. Once you connect with them, when you read, you will be able to easily understand what this person is saying. When you don't even know anything about the person and then you go and read, it takes more time for you to get that. So the easiest way is to build a connection. Nowadays, it's so easy to build a connection. You can go to YouTube or Facebook or their website or anywhere. You can go through their videos and all those things. You understand the person. So that itself will help you to do. There is a systematic approach for doing it. I'm not getting into the details of it. Something I have come up with is called, before we do exercise or anything, we do a warm-up, right? Why we do a warm-up? We are making ourselves ready to do the exercise. We are making ourselves ready to do the heavy job. So warm-up is required. Even athletes do that. Many people do that warm-up. So something similar to that, something similar to the warm-up, we have to do that in our reading process also. Before you actually start the reading, you have to connect with the author, you have to prepare for the reading, you have to set a reading goal based upon your reading speed and comprehension and understanding the author. And then you have to do a powerful preview. That is something like a trailer for the movie. It's not exactly like a trailer, but something which you get a picture about, okay, what are you going to read? When you know what are you going to read, it will be easy for you to connect. So there's a systematic approach for doing that. And during reading is the place where you have to eliminate all your bad reading habit. like as I mentioned, regression is one thing. Similarly, similar to regression, there is something called progression. That is something you skip and you move forward without even reading the actual content. That's another bad habit. Then you have this tongue moving up and down. That is called tongue warbling. That is another bad reading habit, which again blocks your speed and efficiency. N number of bad. And again, there is n number of things. It's about your environment. Is your environment supporting environment? The lighting plays a very key role. The light, from where the light should come. The light should not be reflecting to your eyes. It will create little bit of pain and disturbance. It should be coming from top left, so that it goes to the book and it goes away, and you can easily, very clearly see the book. And the position of the books also plays a very key role. And n number of factors, not getting into each and every minute details of it, but there are n number of factors you should follow. And the consistency is another aspect, and the timing is another aspect, and a number of things are there during the reading you have to follow. Then after reading, that is the most crucial thing. Once you read, you may get some knowledge. After that, you forget, right? That's a very common thing, because whatever you read, after 24 hours, you will be able to recollect only around 40%. After a week, it goes down even further to like 20%. After a month, it may go down to 10%. After 6 months, you may have only 5% of what you read. It's a very common thing. Normally, people, without putting intentional effort, without putting a conscious effort, we will not be able to recollect the things. So there is a systematic approach of doing these things. Like there are multiple tools, techniques available. There is something called a 4R review model, which I follow. There is something called a page summary, creating the summarization techniques are there. And then there's something called mind map. We will come through a few of these things towards the end, which will help you to recollect. And then you should have an implementation strategy. That strategy will help you to implement what you read, so that you get into a rhythm of reading. That is the way you have to build a reading habit. You have to focus on before, during, as well as after. Is it clear? Any questions? Okay, thank you. Now let us look at, we all know we have to improve the productivity of our reading. We have to improve the reading speed and efficiency. What is the way to improve the productivity of any process? There's a 3 steps we have to follow. First is we should be able to provide more input. Second, we should be able to process more data. Third, we should eliminate wastage in the process. Provide more input means you should have devices to provide more input, right? What is the input device during our reading? Which is the input device we use for reading? What is the input device we use? Please do type in. Books is not the device, right? Eyes is the device, and even at the same time, we can say even our ears also. If you hear audio books, yeah, eyes and ears, we can say, is our eyes capable of providing more input? It's easily capable of. It's easily capable of providing more inputs. Because what happens is, it's all about where we focus. Majority of the time, we focus on a single word. That is why we are able to capture only a single word. We can capture much more when you look at it. Look at when you see an image, you capture most of the things from the image, right? Without spending so much time. But when you get into the text, you find it very difficult to get more out of it, because your focus, the challenge is your focus is on a particular word rather than focusing on a group of words. That is the biggest problem we have. So we are capable of doing it. Look at watching a movie. When you watch a movie for 2 hours, how much data actually you are processing? You are processing so much of data. Imagine the number. Say, for example, we say like a picture worth 1,000 words. That means if you look at one picture, consider this as an example. It is 1,000 words. That means within, if I show you a picture for a second and I move it, 90% of the information from that picture you will be able to capture if I show you for a couple of seconds. Right? That means more than 1,000 words of information is there in a simple picture. I'm not talking about complex, I'm talking about a simple picture that you are able to capture. That means you are able to capture it. You are able to see that much. When you watch movie, video is much more, right? In a second, how many frames? Like more than 30 frames pass through in a second. So that much of frames information is getting into our brain, right? It is easily possible. It's only about we are not utilizing our eyes. We have two types of vision. One is focused vision and one is peripheral vision. Focused vision is something which you use the sharp focus. Some birds like eagle and all, they have only focused vision. The peripheral vision is very minimal. That's why they can see from a very long. But we humans has both focused as well as peripheral vision. See, when you look at one page in a book, what do you normally see? Majority of the time, we see a single word. But if you look at the entire page, actually we can see and capture much more than a single word. Only thing we are not utilizing the naturally given talent in all of us. Our vision, our eyes are much more capable than what we think, especially when it comes to reading. You can capture so much information. Just I will tell you an example. When you go in a train or bus, when you see a board in the side, you don't get much time to read, right? But quickly you are able to read it. You when you are intensely want to read something which you don't have much time, you will be able to easily capture it. You can do that. Means we have the capability, only thing we don't practice that. That is possible. So we can provide more input, no worry at all. And the same thing, another example I can tell you, in WhatsApp and all, we hear the audio messages, right? So this, like a couple of years back, they came up with this 1.5x, 2x option, right? And how many of you use this 2x option when you hear this WhatsApp audios? Most of us use it, right? Initially, when it started, you might have felt, okay, little disturbing, or I'm not able to understand. And it's a huge time saver, right? Especially when you want to hear some audio messages from groups. You all will be part of so many groups. So playing it in 2x, you can easily get the meaning. Your objective is to get the meaning only, right? You can easily provide it, easily understand it by playing it in 2x speed. That means you can provide more input. Second part is, are we able to process? See, we all know the capacity of our brain, and we all know like we are not even using 10% of it. So that means we have a massive, powerful machine inside which can process much more. Only thing we are not providing. If you are ready to provide, it can process so easily. Let me just show you a few things, or I can tell you directly. Like when you watch the videos and all, especially educational videos, especially in YouTube and all other channels, you have this speed increase button, right? How many of you use that? How many of you watch educational videos at a 2x speed? Do you do that? Yes, Rashmi. Yeah. Yes. See how much time it is actually saving. Imagine you are doing something for watching a 10 minutes video, and if you can watch the same in 5 minutes, initially when you try, you may feel it a little disturbing. But once you practice, it's so easy to understand it, right? Within a couple of weeks of practice, you will be able to completely get it. And once you start doing that, you will enjoy that. Everywhere you will try to do it. I'm not talking about entertainment videos and all. I'm talking about educational content. It's a huge time saver. And there are most of the tools will provide only like up to 2x speed, but there are additional plugins which helps to go even beyond that. Most of the things I do it with a 3x speed. And more normally, most of the tools like the plugins provide up to 4x speed. 4x and all, you may feel like too much disturbing. But when your objective is to get the gist of a YouTube video or something, going it's much faster. You pay more attention also. You can go with much faster. That is actually going to help. The same thing apply when it comes to reading also. If you increase the speed, your your concentration will be more, your focus will be more, you will be able to understand. Only thing is we have not practiced it. That is the biggest challenge. Are you all getting? Good. So we can provide more input, we can process more data and eliminate the wastage. Eliminate the wastage means I mentioned you have n number of bad reading habits. We need to eliminate each and everything. You have to understand what are the bad reading habits you have and eliminate it. If you eliminate those, we will be able to improve our reading, learning and implementation skills and get a massive transformation in our life. You can accomplish anything because we have a huge machine available. It is something like there is a famous audio clipping Earn Nightingale's audio clipping, that is the strangest secret. If you are not heard, you Google and hear it. That is one of the best. I think it was, I think somewhere in 1952 or something. It was something like a radio talk from Earl Nightingale. So that talk, he talks about the power what we have. He talks about our life as like we are like a ship. You are the captain of a massive ship. You can either take it to the sea or keep it at the seashore. Seashore is the most safest place, but the ship is not built to be in the seashore, right? You have to, similarly, our life, you don't try to be in your comfort zone. You have to come out of it. You have to set some goals. Same way like a ship. If you don't set a destination and you just start going, it may go somewhere. It may not reach any place. It may reach or may not reach. We don't have any guarantee. But if you set a clear destination, you will be able to accomplish it, right? You will be able to reach there. So that is very critical to have a clear goals and destinations for you. Have a clear vision. That is much more important. Now look at as I mentioned, providing more input is possible. Processing more data, we have a huge machine available, and then eliminating wastage will do. Now let us look at how these successful people are making use of reading, or what is different in them than us. They all are able to read a lot of books and they are super busy. But even then they are able to read a lot of books. How that is possible? Let's look at the common reading habits of these people. First and foremost thing is they all have reading goals. Reading goals doesn't mean that, okay, this many books. It may not be this many books. It may be daily this much time or daily this many pages. So many set such goals. Okay, I will not go to sleep without reading 20 pages. That itself is a goal. Some people say that I want to read one book in a sitting, or I want to read one book every week, or I want to read 50 books in a year. The second thing is they are consistent, because these people have power habits. Power habits means a habit, something which you consistently do without any excuses. You, irrespective of anything you will do. It is something like has become like brushing. You do every day, right? If you don't do, you feel so irritated, right? Similarly, you build habits that are consistent, that are sticking with you. That's the way these people are. Like they consistently do things and they have a clearly defined challenging goals. It's not something like small goals, like, okay, I will read one book in this year. No. It will be really challenging goals because they want to excel in all areas of, or whatever area they are focusing, they want to excel. To excel, they have to read, understand, and implement more things, right? That is one thing you have to think in your mind. First thing, you should have a reading goal. Second thing is you should be consistent. To be consistent, another important thing you have to do is you have to have this timing. When you have to allocate some time for doing something and try to do it on the same time every day. Then it becomes a habit. Then the second thing is effective use of speed reading techniques. There are n number of speed reading techniques which we can make use of. Those techniques will really help you to improve your reading speed and efficiency. Most of these people who are super readers, they make use of all these type of techniques to get the best out of. Like they don't want to spend so much of time. They want to spend minimum time and get the maximum result. That is possible. Then the implementation strategy. That is another core important aspect. It's not about gaining knowledge. It's all about how it can transform our life. You should have a proper implementation strategy. So if you are reading one book, there may be like 20 things the book may be teaching. You don't need to plan to implement all the 20. Pick top 3 and implement one at a time. That should be your strategy, because that's the way you can. Otherwise, if you try to for massive change immediately, you may not be able to adapt to that quickly. It takes time. It's all like depends upon each person, like how do they want to take it. So you should have a proper implementation strategy. Clear? Any questions here? Okay. Now look at 2 key speed reading techniques. The first and foremost is called visual metaguiding. So the second is this is the crux of speed reading. If you go anywhere to get a speed reading course or anything, the core of it is these 2 techniques. There are a number of other smaller techniques, but these 2, if you master, that itself is enough to get the best out of it. What is visual metaguiding? Let me explain with an example. As I mentioned, we have focused as well as peripheral vision. And when we guide our vision, we will be able to focus more. Let me explain with an example. All of you do this exercise with me. Try to form a circle in front of you by moving your eyes up, right, down, left, and up. Means rotating your eyes. You don't need to rotate your head. You can just rotate your eyeballs, and try to form a circle. Try to form a circle in front of you just by rotating your eyeballs. Okay. Now, try to do the same in a different way. Now, what we are going to do is, you take your finger, forefinger, and then you keep it at the top, and your eyes should look at the tip of your finger. And now let the finger form a circle. You are just focusing only on the tip of your finger, and then you are drawing a circle. This is much easier, right? In the first case, what is happening? There is a jerking happening, right? You are not able to draw a perfect circle just by moving your eyeballs. But when you are showing a fingertip, and then your eyes has to just focus on the fingertip, it's so easily we can draw a circle, right? Are you all getting it? Are you all getting it? Why it is possible is, we have a focused vision, and when you guide our vision, it becomes so easy. This is the same technique we will apply in our reading also. How do we apply this? We might have studied a little bit about this in our childhood days. It's simple, it's straightforward. What you do is, you take a pen or pencil and put it just below the word which you want to read. And rather than focusing on the word, focus on the tip of the pen, and then just slowly move your pen. So basically what we are doing is, you are just guiding your eyes to go through the words. This is called a visual meta-guiding. Visual meta-guiding, the advantage with this is, now you can control your speed. Now you can control your speed. How you can control? The movement of the pen is in your hands, right? You can increase the speed, then your eye will not just focus each and every word and move. The eyes will focus on going through the tip of the pen. If you increase the speed, the eye movement will be faster. If you decrease the speed, eye movement will be slower. This is something you can try in your book. What you should be doing is, if you are reading like 150 words per minute, you should set your target as double. Okay, I want to read as 300 words per minute. And then move your eyes. Say for example, if you are taking 2 minutes to read this one page, your goal should be, you have to read it in 1 minute. So if there are 30 lines, each line was taking maybe 5 seconds, you should set that, okay, in 2.5 seconds I want to move from left to right. So that's the way you should move the pen so that your eye will be able to focus, means I will be able to move much faster. So this is just the starting of it. You when you do initially, what will happen is your comprehension will go to zero because you will not understand anything because you are trying to break it. What is happening in your head is when you try to provide much more input, this what you are trying to do is you are doubling the input. If you are reading 150 words, you are trying to give it 300 words. When you try to do this, what is happening is your brain will say that, hey, I am not able to understand anything. So please stop sending this. I can't understand, I can't get it. So most of the time what we do is we stop there. This is something the pattern we have to break. It requires practice, but I'm explaining the theory part of it. We can break it with a little practice on it. You provide more input, slowly our brain, see, we all know our brain is capable, but the lazy mind will feel that, okay, I want to put more effort to understand it, so I don't want to try that. It was not something I have been trying, so let me be in comfort zone. We have to break it. If we are able to break it, we will be able to do this much faster and you will be able to capture it. Of course, it requires practice, but it is easily possible for anybody to double or triple your speed without losing your current comprehension level. Is it clear what is visual metaguiding? I hope you all understood what is visual metaguiding, how it can help you to read. I want you to do a little practice with this. Since we don't have much time here, I'm not giving you that exercise right now. So you can do that practice and see how it is happening for you. So the second method what we have is called the chunk by chunk reading. What is chunk by chunk reading? I already explained. Rather than focusing on one word, focus on more words. Look at this. When you read chunk by chunk reading, once you practice with visual metaguiding, your eyes are able to move much faster. You will have a lesser number of seconds and all, so you will be able to focus on more words together. So that's the time you will start exploring on chunk by chunk reading. Here what happens is, rather than reading one word at a time, you are going to focus on 3 to 4 words at a time. And then capture it. We will just do a small experiment, practice now, so that you understand whether it is possible or not. See how Swami Vivekananda was reading. I never read a book word by word. I read sentence by sentence, sometimes even paragraph by paragraph, in a sort of kaleidoscopic form. So what he is clearly saying is, he never read word by word. He reads sentence by sentence and even paragraph by paragraph. What he is saying is, when you look at one paragraph, the entire content of that paragraph you can capture. Definitely it requires practice. I'm not telling you that you can reach that level in a month or something. That level, like capturing one paragraph together, take a lot of time. But now you look at your stage, you are reading one word at a time. If you can capture 3 words at a time, how much you can improve, how much your speed can improve, how much time you can save in your reading. And the beautiful part is, when you start improving that speed, you will easily see that your comprehension is also coming along. Your focus, concentration, everything is also improved. Because when you go faster, you will be more conscious. You will have that fear that, okay, I'm going faster, I may lose something, I may miss something, so I want to focus more. And also by eliminating all other bad reading habits and putting you in a very focused state, you will be able to triple your reading speed so easily. Clear? So let's look at a few examples. You try to read this. How you want, how about challenging of explain? Yeah, this is what is happening is, you are finding it challenging to explain because you are not reading in a way where you are able to relate it. Because you are just, it's not about just consuming some information. You have to connect this information. That is what, during the reading process, you have to relate it, You have to connect it. You have to associate story with it. How you are able to see? If you watch a movie and if somebody is asking you the story, you will be able to explain it very clearly, right? Why? Because you were along with the movie, right? You were along with it and you are completely getting it. You are understanding the meaning of what author is trying to convey, right? When you read also, you should get into that. That's what I'm telling. Before reading, you have to do a lot of things. And you know what you are going to read, you will be able to connect it. See, we are not normally not learning anything totally new. Whenever we get something new, what we do is we relate it with what we already know. So that is why there are different steps. I told that we do a warm up. As part of a warm up, one is something called research. Research is something like when you get a totally new topic, you do some research before you start reading, so that when you read the book, you will be able to connect with your research with your topic. So this is the way brain works, right? You have to connect it with information. So that link, when you are not linking, that's the time you are not able to explain what you read. Getting it? There are techniques to do that. So this one, how to read is, you just try to capture 2 words at a time. In the sense, here what you should do is, you just focus at the middle of this word, 2 words, the gap, right? And try to read it. Look at and focus on 2 words at a time and read, then move to. Are you able to capture it? You can capture this 2 word chunks, right? It's not difficult. Rather than focusing on one word, you look at 2 words together and then read it. See, most of the time what happens is, many of these at and on, these prepositions and all those things, you don't need to read, because to get the meaning of a sentence, you need only the core words, right? All other things are not important to get the meaning. So you can skip all those things. Only thing is, since we are not practiced such things, you're not able to skip it. That's what is happening. So now in the next slide, I'm going to give you another exercise where I have kept each word as 3 alphabets. Here the exercise is, you have to go through the center alphabet and try to capture it. You don't need to focus on the left alphabet and right alphabet. You just look at the center alphabet and capture the word. Just try it. In this case, you will read only N, A, O, A, and see whether you are able to capture the left and right without even looking at it. You're able to get it, right? Okay, cool. Now let's look at this in a different way. Let's read some words together. In the next one, instead of alphabets, I am showing 3 words. Here what you have to do is, you have to focus only on the center word and then try to capture. Don't look at the left and right word at all. Because of our peripheral vision, you will be able to capture it easily. You don't need to go and focus on that particular thing. Try to read it. Okay, cool. So this is the core of it. See, it's all like we all are having that inbuilt capacity to do it. Only thing is, we are not making use of it. We have to make use of it. It requires conscious practice. It's, see, since I have get some gap and all this, here it is becoming easy. And when you look at a book together, you may find it, how do I find out what is the middle word and all? Initially, those type of challenges will be there. But those things easily we can overcome with a little amount of practice. I hope you got these things. And then remembering things is another thing. Once you are read things, you have to make notes. You have to do summarization. That is the easiest way to remember things. There is something called a 1-page summary. Normally, after reading a book, you have to prepare a summary, and it's a single-page summary and keep it with you. The advantage with that is that 1-page summary will help you to recollect the entire book. and keep on accumulating that summaries so that if you are at 50 books, you will have 50 pages that explains the books. You can file it and keep it. That's one way of doing. Another way is mind maps. You might have heard about mind map. That is one of the most powerful way to put information in an organized way in our brain and recollect it easily. Then there are revision techniques. Like as I mentioned, like we naturally forget things, but to recover that, to recollect that, there are systematic methods. I think we are almost time. I'll take another 5 more minutes and we will wind up. Is that fine? Okay. Yeah. So one-page summary, this is an example of one-page summary. One-page summary, how do we prepare is, this is a template I created. The book name, author name, what is the primary message from the book? What is if you have to explain to somebody what is this book all about? Then on the reading completion date, just for your reference, then what are the key takeaways from the top 10? At the end of reading one book, if you prepare something like this, you will be able to recollect most of the things about this book anytime. Then what is the one key takeaway from this 10? What is the one top priority for you? And what are the things which I am going to implement and practice in my life? So you can put top 3, what you want to implement. By learning this, I'm talking only about non-fiction books. What you want to implement from this particular book, that is something you can note down. The advantage with that is, since you are filing it physically, after some time you can go and see, okay, this book has 10 points. This was my key. These 3 things I plan to implement. Am I doing it, or did I do it? If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can prepare this type of things, which will definitely help you in your reading journey. Another thing is mind maps. This is a sample mind map for Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. It talks about 13 steps to riches, having a burning desire, having faith, all those things. This is something which I have created in a tool. So this is another way of remembering things in an easy way. This can be we can do it in manually also, and we can do it with there are a lot of tools available. And there's a very scientific and psychological things also related to this. The way you draw each line, all those things matters a lot. The color combinations, everything plays a very huge role in recollecting things. So mind maps itself is a huge topic. That preparing the mind map will help you to recollect things in a much faster way. This is something I created through a tool called Xmind, which is a free tool. It's a paid version is also there, but that you can install and use it for free with basic features. Okay, I think that's the overall thing which we covered, how we can recollect things. What are the next steps? What are the next steps? What I am doing? Let me explain how this is something which was more about theoretically you understand. Sorry, previous slide is the book page summary. This one, Rashmi? Okay. Okay, cool. And this is a mind map one. So what is something which I am doing right now to help people? I normally do a 30-day power reading challenge, which is something like a course, which is more of recorded sessions as well as live sessions where people will do their reading and then practice these things, and they also get opportunity to come and present their book summary. A lot of things we do there. But before even getting into that, I want to give you something which is like a practice option for you to experiment, to understand how you can change, how you can learn these things and do some practice on these things. What I'm doing is, I'm actually doing a 5-day live power reading masterclass. This is all live session. This is all live session from Monday to Friday. This Monday it is starting. It's all about, which will help you to identify the most suitable books for you. That is an exercise. It depends upon what area you are. We will make use of lot of AI tools and other things to help you to find out the best books for you, and then focus on eliminating bad reading habits. We will do the practice here. In this 5 days is something like every day. It's a 1 hour session. It's a purely live session. We'll do the practices, and then yeah. You can go ahead. I will update you, and then do practice reading techniques, and then multiple reading tests, and then continue support through WhatsApp, and collective learning as a team. So this is something I am doing, and if any of you want to join for this, so this I am doing for a very minimal cost, which is nothing but 199 rupees for this 5 days class. And beyond that, I have this 30-day program, which is much more deep. That 30 days is really going to help you to transform your reading habits totally to get massive results. But if you want to practice all these things for a week, this is something which I am doing. If you are interested, you can join. It is going to start on this Monday. It's evening like 8 p.m. every day, 8 to 9 p.m. And if you are not able to attend, we will be getting the recordings. So you can join there. I'm sharing you the link here. I'll just stop sharing the screen. I'm sharing you the link to register for that. Already a couple of people have already registered for this from this group itself. So if any of you would like to enroll for this 1 week challenge, this is more about practice. So today we were just looking at the theory section of it. We did not do much practice. So if you want to experiment and see like how this can be helpful for you, you can spend this next 5 days, like Monday to Friday, with me, and we will go more of practical sessions. You practice it and you will learn it. So that's it for time being. Any questions you have? Now open for questions. Feel free to share your feedback or ask any questions. I have shared the link. Whoever want to register, you can register there.